how can her consent be solicited? You know, how can you get the consent of the virgin? Watch what Muhammad says. He said that she keeps silence. So her silence is her consent. The little virgin. If she's quiet, that's a yep. You got the green light.
Bro, I don't know what to tell you because
you don't think that's crazy?
Listen, what the hell? Like, bro, listen, I'm telling you straight up, like, that's not the Islam I follow. I don't know what you're putting
I
up.
know.
I have not enough knowledge to debate you on this. I'm just going to be straight up. I'm not a scholar.
Zainab.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Do you have a question or comment?
So as a Muslim, I feel like it's important to come with a respect and peace, and that's how we treat everybody. But my question is, you know how you say Islam is false? Change my mind.
Yeah.
Like, what is it that you don't like? Is there questions that you have? Like, what is it that you don't understand about the faith? Because I feel like, go ahead.
Yeah, at this point of my life, it's not things that I don't understand. It's the things that I do understand that causes me to conclude that Islam is false. It's not from a place of ignorance. I've looked into some of these issues, and I see that these things are incorrect, not coherent.
Just because, like, growing up in the West, I know that after 9/11, there has been, like, the stereotypical ostracization and villainization of Muslims in general. Like, if you see a Muslim man with a beard, you would automatically assume he's a T. If you saw a practicing Muslim, you would automatically think she's, conservative, she's oppressed, and all of these things. So my stance on it is like a lot of those kinds of conversations that people are like, change my mind, which you obviously probably aren't having these types of conversations like that. But there are so many people who are just really, really ignorant to the faith. Agreed. And so my advice would be to anybody on here is just to really explore the faith, but read the Quran with an open mind, because I think if there's a religion, from my experience, that teaches discipline and that teaches motivation and that really adheres to the principles of the faith, that's Islam. That's only because I just feel like
that's my problem.
No, go ahead.
That's my problem. The Quran teaches you to do a lot of really wrong things that are not godly and that are not in line with the true God. That's my problem. There's a lot of things.
What, like, can you give me an example that where you think that they aren't godly, or like, what do you mean?
Sure. So a huge issue for me is the issue where it permits relations with girls who have not hit puberty yet. That's a huge issue. Okay? Now, I'm not talking about, that's okay in time. No, there's never a time where it's okay for a grown man to have relations with a girl, with a minor. Girl who has not, it's never okay.
No, I completely agree with you.
Good.
I actually completely agree with you. I think there is no time for that. And that is obviously an awful and horrifying thing. And I think what you're referring to is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and, Aisha. And basically, you're referring to the time where a lot of people come up with this because, they say that, a 9-year-old...
Yes, sister.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
So, although the Muslim sources do point to that as a reference, that's not what I'm actually talking about. What the Quran itself says. So, the Quran itself gives an allowance, a permission for young girls to be married off, divorced, had relations with when it comes to adult men and stuff. It allows that. So that's in the Quran. That's what I'm talking about.
I mean, I'm so sorry. I was coughing, so I didn't hear the middle part that you said.
Are you okay?
I was just coughing, and I was like, I had to mute myself. But can you just repeat the middle part so that I can actually get what you said?
Yeah, so I was just saying that it's the Quran itself that allows for relations with girls who haven't hit puberty yet. It's the Quran that does that. So yes, there's stuff like that in the Hadith with Muhammad and Aisha, but that's secondary issue. The Quran is primary, because that's supposed to be the word of Allah itself.
So essentially, you're saying that Islam promotes pedophilia?
Yes.
Wow, that is a statement and a half. It's a very no. I mean, that is an assumption. That is a statement that's heavy. I agree, but I think to say that the whole book promotes pedophilia is crazy. I mean, I can show you and speak from. Sorry.
Now, I wouldn't say the whole book. I would just say that there's a place in the book that allows for that. I can show you if you like. So it's in chapter 65, verse 4.
Oh, you have it? Nice. Who took me off the big screen?
Yeah, we'll read it out. As for your women, past the age of menstruation, in case you do not know, their waiting period, their iddah, is 3 months, and those who have not menstruated as well, lam yahidna. As for those who are pregnant, their waiting period ends with delivery, and whoever is mindful of Allah, He will make their matters easy for them.
All right, so just to be specific, let's break it down slowly. So this verse is talking about divorce. Like that's literally what the chapter name is. It's talaq, which means divorce. Right? Now, it gives you 3 categories of females. It gives you the first category are the ones who are too old to menstruate. So read that part one more time, the beginning.
Yeah. And as for your women past the age of menstruation,
I pause there. So they're divorcing women who are past the age of menstruation, right? And so now these women have what is called an iddah, which is the waiting period before she can move on to another man. And the waiting period of iddah is to make sure that she's not pregnant. So it's 3 months. To make sure she's not pregnant so there's no confusion who the baby father is and all that so forth. Right? So, older women, when you divorce them, their waiting period is 3 months. And it also says the same for those who have not menstruated as well. So girls who have not even menstruated are also being divorced, and their waiting period is also 3 months. And then for the pregnant woman, when she's getting divorced, her waiting period is until she delivers the baby. So our contention is with the second category, the second group, which are the ones who have not menstruated yet. So they're divorcing girls before they hit puberty.
Sorry, I've got a sore throat, so I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to breathe into your mic like that. But no, I'm really conscious of the fact that there's like 650 people on here. But I've got a real cold. But anyway,
this is a chill crowd. I found we're chill here. We chill. We're lighthearted. Okay, it's all right.
Okay, so from the verse that you read, right, I've actually pulled it up because I read that before. And basically, in my understanding to it, when talking about those who have not menstruated, it's in reference to those who are above puberty but who haven't menstruated, so haven't had their monthly cycle yet. It doesn't refer to children because obviously it's talking about the talaq, which is divorce. But it's talking about those who are with child, who are having their monthly cycle, those who could potentially be pregnant, obviously to avoid confusion with baby father. And obviously in Islam, we really do value women so much so that, you can't just divorce a pregnant woman while she's about to give birth to your child. So that's actually a sin to do that. And men can't divorce pregnant women if they're expecting their baby. They've got to wait till she delivers so that it's not a stressful pregnancy. And from my understanding, it talks about the fact that if she hasn't had her monthly cycle, you just have to wait that she's not pregnant. Do you see what I mean? But
of course. This is why, because the verse says that they haven't menstruated at all. The word in Arabic is lam yahidna. Lam yahidna, meaning they have not menstruated in the past. It's never happened. Lam yahidna. So they've never menstruated, right? And so just to let you know that this isn't just like my interpretation or, just me misinterpreting the verse. If we go to the scholars, I'm going to show you what the scholars said. This is Ibn Kathir. Ibn Kathir breaks this down and tells us what it's talking about exactly. So go ahead, Black Doctor. So just to let Ibn Kathir, Islamic scholar, really held high when it comes to Quranic interpretation and history and stuff. So, and we'll show you more. It's not just him. We'll show you what they all say. They all have a consensus on this, all the Islamic scholars. Go ahead and read that up.
The iddah of those in menopause and those who do not have menses Allah the Exalted clarifies the waiting period of the woman in menopause, and that is the one whose menstruation has stopped due to her older age. Her iddah is 3 months instead of the 3 monthly cycles for those who menstruate, which is based upon the ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah. The same for the young who have not reached the years of menstruation. Their iddah is 3 months like those in menopause. This is the meaning of his saying, and for those who have no courses.
So that's Ibn Kathir, very authoritative, and he makes it clear that the understanding of this verse is that it's talking about women in menopause, right? Those are too old to have their menstruation. And then also it's talking about young girls who are too young to have menstruated. They haven't reached the age where they can menstruate yet. So even he is saying, yeah, the Quran is pretty clear on this, that these are the ones that are being divorced. Now, if you don't mind, I'll show you a couple more. I'm going to get the big screen now. Just to show you, like, we're not just picking and choosing. It's not us making stuff up. We're not picking and choosing. We'll show you just a few of all of them. All of them say the same thing. There's not one that's different. So this is Jalalain. These are 2 scholars together. The 2 Jalals, they call them. Right? So he's, breaking down the verse. And as for those of your women who no longer expect men to menstruate, if you have any doubts about their waiting period, their prescribed waiting period shall be 3 months. And also for those who have not yet menstruated because of their young age, their period shall be 3 months. Both cases apply to other than those whose spouses have died. So they, go on talking about the pregnant women and yada, yada, yada. So that's that, right? So even Jalalain gives it about the young girls who have not menstruated yet. We already read Ibn Kathir. Let's go down here to Maududi. So here it says, now, they may not have menstruated as yet either because of young age or delayed menstrual discharge, as it happens in the case of some women, or because of no discharge at all throughout life, which, though rare, may also be the case. In any case, the waiting period of such a woman is the same as of the woman who has stopped menstruation, that is, 3 months from the time divorce was pronounced. So Ibn Maududi includes young girls as being part of this category of ones who have not yet menstruated, right? So he talks about they're young, or they are, they have a little issue, delayed menstrual discharge, right? A medical issue, which is rare, but can be a case as well. So he includes both. That's talking about girls who haven't menstruated yet, and also ones who maybe have a physical disability. All right. So here it is. Therefore, making mention of the waiting period of the girls who have not menstruated. This is important. Therefore, making mention of the waiting period of the girls who have not yet menstruated clearly proves that it is not only permissible to give away the girl in marriage at this age, but it is also permissible for the husband to consummate marriage with her. So these are what all the scholars are saying. If you want to leave a comment, you can. But yeah.
No, I'm literally just listening to you. So Islam basically, long story short, I don't want to monologue or anything, but Islam came to cover all rare cases, all kind of cases, so not any scenario possible. It tries to allude to any random weird scenario as possible, because it is the book, we consider Islam and the Quran to be the last revelation. So for mankind, there's not going to be another revelation after the Quran. That's what Muslims believe, right? So even in situations where you're referring to what you would consider girls before their period and stuff, personally, I didn't see any reference to child or children. And also when looking at, the idea of periods in Islam and cleanliness is a part of our deen. So it's a part of our religion, right? There is a big importance. That's why Muslims are generally very, very, very hygienic people. We wash down there 5 times a day. We do all the wudu, which involves washing. You'll never find a stinky Muslim. Like if they on deen, they are not smelly, because we are told to purify ourselves as much as possible, and we are rewarded for that, right? So in reference to periods, when you're talking about the menstruation cycle, it's really important to recognize that Islam forbids a man to divorce his wife while she's on her period. There is nothing wrong with him marrying her during that time, but he cannot consummate, so he cannot have sex with her while she's on her period, because of that talks about, you know, it could, you know, damage her insides. You're not supposed to generally like no, I get what you're saying. I'm coming back. I promise you I'm coming back to the part where you're talking about menstruation, but just essentially, like, you cannot in Islam you cannot consummate a marriage if she's on her period. She has to be clean. Like, that is a big thing.
Yeah, this is
so
not
in reference to you talking about periods and in there and a 3-month period. Sorry,
I'm not talking about just simply periods.
No,
I'm talking about girls
who haven't reached their period.
Yes. And the reason why is because they're too young. Look, you see, like we showed you this, and all of them said this. The same for the young who have not reached the years of menstruation. What does that mean for young girls who haven't reached the years where they're able to? What does that mean?
Well, I mean, realistically, Islam came over 1400 years ago, at a time where child marriage, even in the West, you know, child marriage, incest, all of that was very, very, very normal. Yeah. That doesn't mean it is something that we promote or we tell children to do, because if that was the case, I would have been married at 9.
Allah are only back then, logic. That's what she's trying to say.
Sorry?
The words of Allah could only apply back then, right? Is that what you're saying? It cannot apply now?
No, I'm not saying that. Respectfully, like, please don't put words in my mouth, because I didn't finish. You just interrupted me. Okay, that was not what I was saying. Okay.
So look.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not alluding. I really wasn't trying to.
Yeah, it's okay. Well,
okay. So basically, that was the time where it was a big thing, right? So it's important to recognize that children as young as 9, even younger than 9, were being married off. Sorry? Yeah.
Speaking about what other nations do is not relevant to what the Quran is teaching. If the Quran itself is permitting this, then it's permitting something that is wrong, no matter whether it was something normal people were doing or not, which is not true. But just granting it, even if it was normal for people to be doing this sick act, it's still sick. It's still wrong. Okay, so I need you to focus on this, that the Quran, look, the same for the young who have not reached the years of menstruation. They're the ones who are being divorced, married, and slept with. You see what I'm saying?
I understand your logic entirely, and I'm not trying to be rude when I ask you this question, but you know how there's like the Old Testament and the New Testament, and there are some violent verses in different scriptures, right? How do people consider and take that into consideration when they, you know, promote peace, when some biblical scriptures and some Talmudic scriptures are incredibly violent and also promote the unalivement of innocent people, yet people just completely ignore that because they say that,
Let me answer you. I'll answer you real quick and bring you back.
Of course.
The difference. The difference is that none of those people are innocent. These are entire nations that have rebelled against God, sacrificed their children, have orgies, rebel against God. They continuously sin. And in fact, before God sent Israel into battle against these nations to take their land as his judgment against them for sin, he gave them 400 years. He gave them 400 years to turn to God, to repent of their sin and their idolatry before God cast his judgment on them to wipe them out or to take their land and give it to Israel. So he gave them time, and he put up with their sin for a very long time before he finally cast his judgment on those nations. So we have instances where God gives his wrath on a nation because of their sin. This is not that. This is a permissibility for men to marry, sleep with, and divorce, like, you know, immature girls.
Okay. With your logic, how many 9-year-old Muslim girls do you know that are married to 65-year-old men?
If we pull up online, we have a few. Matter of fact, there was recently, I don't know if it was about a year ago now, where a young girl, I believe she was either 7 or 10, where she got married to a man. He consummated the marriage with her, and she died that night.
Okay. Well, with Islam, right, we have categories, and we have what's it called? Like, you need to fulfill these categories in order to get married. So I can pull that up for you to show you. But a lot of Islam is literally common sense, and it tells us it invokes us to use our intellect. It's not a religion for dumb people. Like, you're not supposed to blindly follow Islam. Islam is backed by science and everything like that. But I'm not going to start on a monologue. There is literally like a category. There are 4, I think more than 4, but there are categories that you must fulfill as Muslims to be able to get married. If you don't fulfill those, then you cannot get married.
I have the conditions.
One of those conditions is that you need to be able to like take up a responsibility. Like, you are supposed to, be able to basically be able to be a wife or be able to be a husband. I personally do not think. No, it's true, because a 9-year-old cannot take on household.
I have, according to your Islamic scholars, your jurisprudence, I have the ruling on marriage and what makes them qualified. I have it right here.
Can you read it to me so I can go ahead?
So look, this is the Encyclopedia of Jurisprudence, right? So the ruling. Now here's the issue that's being brought up here. Second section, the ruling on marrying a young girl. So what's the ruling on that? The first issue, the father's marriage to a young virgin daughter. It is permissible for the father to marry his young virgin daughter. Now, just to be clear, guys, it's not saying that a father can marry his own daughter. It's saying that a father can give his virgin daughter in marriage. Okay, so let's just be clear. I don't want you guys going around saying, oh, look, it said, no. Let's be clear, let's be fair, and let's read with understanding. It's not saying that a father can marry his own daughter. It's saying that a father can marry off his young daughter, all right? So let's just make clear, all right? So we got that understood. So it is permissible for the father to marry his young virgin daughter off, basically, without her permission. This is agreed upon by the 4 schools of jurisprudence. Hanafi, why does it say on ownership? Hanafi, I think Shafi'i, Hanbalis, what is this? Malikis. I don't know why I mistranslated that right there. And it was reported that there was consensus on this. So they all agreed that a father is permissible for a father to marry off his little girl without her permission. Now, what's the evidence they give? They give reasoning. Here's the evidence. First, from the book itself, from the Quran. What verse do they quote to back up the evidence that a father is permitted to give his little girl in marriage? Here it is. God Almighty said, and for those of your women who have despaired of menstruation, if you are in doubt, their waiting period is 3 months. And those who have not menstruated. So it's Al-Talaq, verse 4, exactly what we just read earlier, 65:4. So that's what they use. Now, what is the meaning? All right. So here's the final part.
Am I able to interject, or are you going to finish your point?
Let me just read it, because this is the important.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
So they quote the Quran verse, and then they say the meaning behind the evidence that they're using. So it says, God Almighty ruled that the divorce of a young girl who has not menstruated is valid, and divorce does not occur except in a valid marriage. So the verse includes the permissibility of marrying a young girl. There is no party with whom her marriage is valid unless her father marries her. So the condition is that her father gives her a marriage. And actually, this is a mistranslation. It's not young girl. It's a minor girl, a little girl. Right, Sil?
Yeah, exactly, brother.
Yeah.
And Logic, just to finish it, would you be able to read the third matter as well, since you already had it on? Third matter, if you scroll down.
I wanted to touch on this first, because you wanted to.
Okay, got you. I got you.
Say something old, though. So again, Zainab, this is the consensus, the ruling, the official ruling of the law on marrying young girls.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely. Okay, I'm not going to say I completely understand, because I don't understand how we're referring to a surah that's on talaq, which is divorce, to talk about marriage. But I'm just going to say, I'll read this, okay? It says, it is haram for the guardian, so the wali of the woman, to force her to marry someone she does not want or does not like. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace and blessings upon him, said the virgin should not be given in marriage until her permission has been sought. This is narrated by Al-Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, and this basically says that you cannot marry off your daughter. So I couldn't even be married off without my father coming to me and asking me if it's okay, or then my nikah, so that's Islamic marriage, would not be valid. In that case, that's why every single forced marriage in Islam is not considered a valid nikah. So it's basically, it's null and void. It doesn't exist. So she could go marry next man, and that's not a thing.
The hadith logic?
Yep.
Also, if you talk,
Can you give us that hadith, please?
I just read it.
No. Just give us the hadith, please.
It says it is haram for the guardian.
No. Give us the hadith. Sorry.
It was narrated by Al-Bukhari in Sahih Muslim 1419. Go reach it.
Sahih al-Bukhari 1419. This is the hadith.
Sorry.
So
Actually,
Sahih
do you want me to
al-Bukhari
open my camera?
1419?
Shall I show you my camera? Do you want me to show you it? Okay, hang on.
You could just give us the hadith number, not a problem. If it's from Sahih al-Bukhari.
Not only that, but if we're going with the virgin's consent, we got to see what her consent is, sister. If you're there, you probably concentrating on something.
I'm here. Sorry, no, I'm listening. But he just wants me to, because he thinks I'm not making stuff. Like, I don't have time.
It's in Islam, which is
and then I'm talking about, because I literally, it says it here. Do you see? And then it's also talking about whether, because I'm curious to learn about my religion as well. Like, I'm not a scholar like that. So when you say things, I want to check them as well.
Yeah.
So then it talks about, marriage and like why a forced marriage is it even valid? And it says if the marriage contract has been done and she's even reluctant, it's an invalid contract, meaning it does not exist. You cannot, silence doesn't mean yes. If she's scared or she's afraid to talk about it like that, it's an invalid nikah. Like, you cannot do that. That's why, bro, I'm 25. If my dad could force me to get married, I'm from an ethnic background, my dad would, trust me, he'd be like, come on, like, you need to go get you married. You're 25. Yeah. But it's against our religion. Like, my dad cannot force me. He can show me people, but he can never say, you have to get married.
What you're showing us is just not, it's not proven anything, to be honest with you. It's just writings from Islamic QA. It's not even given a...
I like that she went to Islam Q&A, because we're going to use Islam Q&A to prove the point here.
Listen, I use a lot of things, not just Islam Q&A.
Yeah, it's all good. But look, notice what, in this hadith, what the consent of a little virgin is. Watch what the consent is. This is Sahih Muslim 1419a. It says...
So, can I ask you a question, though? Like, I know you're busy, but can I ask you, like, a real, just general question? Really
sure.
quick.
Because,
the general question to you is this what makes you think that Islam is a lie? Like, marriage?
It's one of them.
Is it one? Okay.
It's one of them. Yeah, it's one of them. It's a big issue for me. Not just marriage, it's the permissibility of relations with little girls. That's the problem.
I promise you, none of us are sitting here condoning pedophilia, because anything,
you'll be surprised, Zainab. I've done this for a very long time. There are Muslims that have come up and said, yeah, so what? That's what the Quran says. Yes, that's lawful. So what? You know?
But the thing is, like, on a real note, like, the thing is, a lot of these ex-Muslims who were in Islam, who speak Arabic, who have now left the fold of Islam, do actually come on and spread propaganda and indoctrination.
No, I'm not talking ex-Muslims. I'm not talking about ex-Muslims. Here on this app, there are Muslims who come up and they'll say, yes, so what? Yes, this is what Allah has made permissible. Whatever Allah permits, Allahu Alam. Yes, so what? I don't have a problem with it. They come up and they defend this. They don't deny it.
For me, it's just like the logic of, okay, if Islam promotes child marriage, aside from countries like third world countries and villages and all of that who are following culture as opposed to religion, like, you don't see where deen is actually followed. You don't see a 9-year-old with a...
I can pull up so many articles, Zainab. I can pull up so many articles for you of little girls being given to older men in marriage in Muslim countries. I can pull all
what part of the world? Like, I'm Afghan, Persian,
in the Middle East,
and Pakistani, and those types of things happen. Like, we also have.
Okay, I'll
show you. Like, I can show you that happens, but that's also them following conservatism and culture as opposed to Islam.
Fine, but look, I don't even care I don't care if a Muslim never did this. The fact that it is taught in the religion itself is what the problem is. I don't like if Muslims practicing the religion or not practicing the religion doesn't make the religion true or false to me. What makes the religion true or false is what the religion itself says. So if the religion itself, as we're showing in its own sources, is giving allowance for this, that's the problem, whether Muslims do it or not. So look, here's the consent of the girl. A woman without a husband must not be married until she is consulted, and a virgin must not be married until her permission is sought. They asked the Prophet of Allah.
Yeah, that's
Let me finish it. This is important. Right. The virgin, how is her consent? How can her consent be solicited? How can you get the consent of the virgin? Watch what Muhammad says. He said that she keeps silence. So her silence is her consent. The little virgin. If she's quiet, that's a yep. You got the green light.
Bro, I don't know what to tell you because
you don't think that's crazy?
Listen, what the hell? Like, bro, listen, I'm telling you straight up, like, that's not the Islam I follow. I don't know what you're putting
I
up.
know.
I have not enough knowledge to debate you on this. I'm just going to be straight up. I'm not a scholar. Like, I don't have the knowledge to chat to you. You need to speak to someone who's like a scholar who can.
I've spoken to
I'm
people.
I'm just a general Muslim from, like, I'm trying to learn on my deen, and these types of things I learn it every day.
This
but it's
is
like
the
you need
deen.
to speak. No, you need to
But
speak
this
to
is the
someone.
deen.
King, not even king, peasant. Listen to me, okay? Sorry, I'm not calling. No, I'm being straight up. Like, I'm not a scholar. I can't answer the questions. I'm just gonna respectfully dip. Like, it's not fair.
Don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. I'm not challenging you, Zainab. Look, listen. So notice how I didn't like try to make you, explain something, or no, I didn't do nothing. I just was sharing with you my knowledge and what I have found, right? So I don't expect you to have an answer for everything or whatever. I'm just giving you what I know and a part of why I reject Islam. This is why, because look, I know that when you said it's so important, and what you said was so important, that this is not the Islam you know. This is not the deen that you follow. And I know that. I know that you have a particular view of Islam. You learned Islam as you were growing up or whatever, in a certain way. And so therefore, what we're showing you is not what you are familiar with. I know that. What I'm saying is that you have to, when you actually look into what Islam actually teaches, you look into the actual sources, look into what the Quran actually says, look into what the scholars actually say, you will see that the Islam you know is not the true Islam at all. I promise you. That's all I leave you with, okay? Just think on that. That's all I'll leave you with.
By the way, Logic, the Asbab and Nuzul of the ayah, Sister Zainab, the reason why this ayah was revealed, just to give you a little bit of a heads up, Ubay bin Ka'b, he's the companion of the Prophet. If we go to Tafsir of Ibn Kathir, I'm just, giving you a quick one, that he said because of some young ones, and he clarifies it, he gives you, 3 categories, because it is talking about 3 categories, and he mentions some of the young one as well. This is why the ayah was revealed, the Asbab and Nuzul of the ayah. Okay, now what Logic showed you, this is regarding the 4 madhahib, al-fiqhiyya al-arba'a. They give you the rulings of the marriage. Do you know, Zainab, sister, with all due respect, that the ones who have not reached the years of menstruation, obviously he's talking about the young ones, the little child ones, their iddah is 3 months. Now the iddah has been used for what? We know for a fact the iddah has been used for sexual intercourse. Why? Because we can see, according to 3349, it's talking about the believing women. So if you do not touch them, and they have no iddah waiting for a period for them to count. Now, what did Ahmed bin Hanbal says in Abu Ubaid? Once she reaches 9 years old, she is forced to bear intercourse. This is what the scholar says. This is 90% of the scholars that says, and they're all agreeing to it. Logic showed you many of the scholars. Ibn Kathir, Al-Jalalain, the 4 madhahib, which is Al-Fiqh, Al-Shafi'i, Wal-Maliki, Wal-Hanabila, all of these, and we could go in deep, but we don't want to obviously, overwhelm you, but we want you to, please, we love you. We don't hate you. We want you just to kind of do your own research and think about it. Think about it. Exactly. That's all. You know?
Respectfully, guys, like, I'm just gonna say, I don't have enough knowledge to come and defend my religion like this, and I feel like it's not fair for me to be advocating on Islam on a panel with like 750 people where I do not have that type of knowledge to call it out. So I feel like it's best that you go to people who actually can, you know, come and counteract what you're saying so that it's fair. Like for me, I'm just, you know, from London, like I don't have that type of knowledge. I was born in a religion that teaches and doesn't teach that, and obviously, alhamdulillah, I'm good with what I have. But you need somebody who can give you that. They're obviously in every religion, you're not going to have a pastor or a nun or like you're not going to have the top level people who know their religion like that. So me personally, I'm just a normal, you know, person. I'm learning every day myself, and I just don't think it's fair for me to come up here. So I respect you guys, and I hope that you guys can find somebody who is able to maybe show you a different understanding, but I personally can't offer you that. But it was nice to speak to you. And can I just say, I do not promote, and we as do not promote pedophilia, and I can stand on that.
Then you go against Islam. Good.
No, I don't.
You're going against Allah as well.
Astaghfirullah.
Okay, look, Zainab, before you go, look, because I want you to follow me, and I want you to watch the conversations that I have with Muslims. I want you to watch it and see how Muslims try to engage with certain things that I bring up. Okay? So I think it'll interest you, you know? So follow me and Zoom.
Okay.
Okay?
I will. Can I just go ahead?
How about we make, since she's here, if she has time, she can stay here and we bring someone to argue regarding the child marriage. What do you think? I mean, it's up to you about it.
Let her go.
Yeah,
you can have me here if you want, and I can listen, but it's up to you. Like, I mean, somebody said use your brain, Zainab. Like, come on now. I'm using my intellect by telling people that I'm not educated enough. I think that's respectful, no?
I think that it's honorable. It shows your humility. Like, okay, I'm not knowledgeable to speak further on this, but don't let it rest there. Since you're not knowledgeable on this issue, get knowledgeable on this issue, and then make a decision. You know. That's what we're asking you to do.
What is what a decision on what? Like, would you
on whether or not this is a religion, right, that you can follow if it actually is teaching this. So what you need to come to this conclusion. Does Islam actually teach this, as we were showing you? And if it does, you have to be consistent and condemn it, right? If any religion that teaches this, you would condemn. You know, so you need to, you know, inform yourself. Does it teach this or not? If it doesn't, of course, you know, you move on, learn other things. If it does, now you know that it does, and therefore you gotta condemn this stuff.
Yeah. No, I agree. Can I just ask King whatever? No, peasant. Sorry, I'm not gonna. I'm not referring to him as King. Habibi, are you ex-Muslim? Because you lot are so obsessed with Muslims. Are you an ex-Muslim?
Are you an ex-Muslim still, peasant?
Are you?
I am not an ex-Muslim.
Are you an apostate?
I am a kafir. Sallam. You know, I was born in Iraqi. She already got it. Yeah, you called it earlier.
I know you so well. Your people infiltrate. Because I know your people. Sorry. That was rude.
What do you mean, your people?
I mean, like, you know, Iraqi, some of the ones that are like, you know, not on it, they are some lovely people, but just have some very strong views. And I've come across them before. I already know your tactic, because when you started speaking Arabic, I picked up the dialect. You see, like, I already knew what was up. And then I was like, Iraqi. Anyway.
But he was just sharing truth, eh? He was just sharing truth.
The thing is, I've had this conversation with Iraqis before, and they come with the same rhetoric, with the same stance, with the same Arabic, with the same line. So I was just like, yep.
But he was different though. This was a different conversation, wasn't it?
Well, we'll see.
But yeah, keep coming through, keep watching. You're welcome to stay and watch as much as you want, and you can see how Muslims deal. Okay.
All righty. I gave you a follow.
Awesome.
Oh, thank you. This wasn't a horrible conversation, so I appreciate that.
We keep it cool here. Look, I have my views. I have my beliefs. I don't hate anybody that disagrees with me. I don't hate them for it. We can have an honest conversation, we can do that.
Oh my God! Someone said I have a crush on you and that you'll convert me to whatever faith you're on. Some people are crazy.
I think they talk about Sil.
Who the hell is Sylv? Ew, nah. Gross. I'm sorry, I don't marry peasants, you see. Anyways.
Okay.
Anyways.
Those are marriageable words, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, my bar ain't that low. Okay. Alrighty.
Alright. Take care, Zay.
Take care, bye.
Bye.